As we all know, Ninth Street has been sort of this physical, psychological barrier between West Louisville and downtown and other neighborhoods. So in a lot of ways, it's kind of the gateway. It really is what you see, what you have to cross over to get into West Louisville. So it's pretty catalytic in the sense that if we're addressing Ninth Street, I think we're really making a big statement.
What the urban renewal plan did from say 1930 to 1960 did in West Louisville was it essentially became an imposed barrier, and every city has these. It was recommended by the federal government to impose these to really divide neighborhoods based on race and class, and it was recommended initially in the FHA's underwriting manual. I think it was 1938 talked about it. Urban renewal in the 60s basically leveled that entire area. I think there were maybe 3 buildings left standing from the 60s, the Quinn Chapel, the church on Chestnut Street that Samuel Plato designed, and another church Samuel Plato designed at 13th and Broadway. So 3 churches are really the only buildings left from that entire area. So the area now, it's an expanse of surface parking lots to your left. If you're getting off 9th Street, and then to your right is Beecher Terrace. So what that neighborhood was essentially was that was the heart of the black community. It was the black community's commercial district, cultural and economic hub of Louisville, the Louisville black community. A high-speed expressway with an artificial barrier in the middle, like a berm, would protect, they used language, something like it would protect property from inharmonious racial groups. So that was actually the federal government advising neighborhoods on how to plan their cities, and then those recommendations was just sort of systemic in how cities were planned.
Okay. It's really about stitching the city back together. There's a real sort of wound there that needs to be stitched back together. And what we're looking at it from is from the built environment, from the infrastructure of the streetscape. And so the reimagining 9th Street is primarily looking at pedestrian and other modal safety, but it's really working about what are our east-west connectors. How do we cross this? How do we use this as a meeting point or as a destination as opposed to just this large swath of roadway that we need to get from one side to the other?
We have definitely.
9th Street really bubbled up under Vision Louisville, which we did back in 2013, where we went out to the community and we got as many as 80,000 ideas as to what people wanted to see in the city and what changes or what their vision for the city was in the next 20, 30 years. We came up with 3 different options, but then the preferred option, which was putting this kind of linear park on one side and really creating some better connectivity at the intersections and creating more pedestrian crossings than we have today, was the one that the people were really wanting to see. It will be a much smaller roadway. It would have 2 lanes of traffic in either direction as opposed to the 4 lanes that you're seeing today. The median, which is so prominent in the middle of the corridor, is basically being moved to one side so that we're creating more of a linear park. While the median is nice, it's grassy, it's green, it's tree-lined, it's not accessible to pedestrians. So while it's nice while you're driving by it, nobody's really utilizing it. So by putting it on one side, we're able to program it and design it for people. We can put recreational facilities, we can have stormwater infrastructure, we can have tree canopies, we can have picnic areas, we can really design it for better use that can be used by the people that are living around and on the corridor.
I think the plan and I think the project will really accomplish, based on its own goals and objectives, what it really sets out to do in reconnecting that neighborhood. It's going to make crossing 9th Street a lot safer. It's going to create a lot of the livability metrics and that planners talk about and the quality of life metrics. But the people that lived in Beecher Terrace will not necessarily benefit from that. I think the deeper issue is to make sure that those voices make it into the dialogue and are represented in some form.
One of the reasons that we also were very interested in doing 9th Street at this time is that there's so many other things going on around it that tends to be a catalyst for one project kind of spurring another to spurring another. I mean, we've got 9th Street, we're redoing Beecher Terrace, we've got the Choice Neighborhood Initiative, we have the Bus Rapid Transit, Dixie Highway, which will be running up and down 9th Street, a number of other initiatives that are going on in the Russell neighborhood. We've got Waterfront Park Phase 4, we're extending River Road West. That's another connector that will be kind of going beyond 9th Street, and the Knot, which is a public art project that's going to be right underneath the 9th Street underpasses. So there's just a lot of kind of momentum, a lot of good energy going on in trying to do exactly this, bridging and the gap and stitching the city back together.